Today I'm sharing part 3 of my library sale book haul. Hey there, it's Mitzi. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing part 3 of the library sale book haul. And if you follow my channel, you know that I am celebrating my 1 year on BookTube with a library sale. And we had a great time last weekend traveling to this library sale and buying lots of books. This particular basket is full of middle grades and one other book that I wanted to talk to you about because I forgot to include it in the other videos. I had actually videoed this one already, and I went back and was editing, and part 3, this part, was gone. I don't know what happened. It disappeared. So I'm retaping that part and feeding it in. So hopefully these are the books. I think so. So anyway, so these books are all middle grade books except for one, and these, I have read most of these, but I wanted to reread some of these because they're Newberries, and I am trying to read the whole Newbery award winners. Newbery books are books in children's literature in the United States that have the year before been published, and they are the best of literature for that year. That's what is voted best literature for that particular year. And I have found that there are a lot of great children's books in the Newbery list, so I like to read those. When I taught school, I read a lot of Newberries that came out during that time period when I was teaching, so that I could share those books with the children, because those were the books that were sort of new releases and popular during the time that I was teaching. And then I started trying to read some of the others from the beginning. I think it's the Newbery started like in 1922 or something like that. So I have tried to go back, but I have a lot of them that I have not read. And some of them I've read and really enjoyed, but I can't remember the details. So I'm trying to collect all of them. And then what I plan on doing, I know Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books has done some of these. I think she does it by decades, which I think is what I'm going to do too. And she talks about each decade of Newbery winners. And I think I'm going to do the same kind of thing and try to read each decade of winners and then kind of rank them, you know, in what I enjoyed the best in that particular decade. So anyway, that's a project that is ongoing at my house. And so I've been trying to pick up a lot of award winners for that reason. Again, I've read a lot of these. I had a lot of paperbacks in the Newberries because they would come in like Scholastic sales and stuff when I did book fairs. But we read them so much because they were award winners. They were great books. And between me and the other children, as well as my kids at home, we just wore those books out. And so a lot of them I had left in my library at school to give to the next class, you know, the next teacher, to help her build her classroom library. But they were not hardcover nice copies anyway. They were just paperbacks. These are all hardcovers. A couple of them are paperbacks just because they were, you know, throw them in the bag, super cheap, almost free kind of books here. So anyway, I say all that to say there's just 3 that are paperbacks and the rest are hardcover. So I will start with, well, let me start first with this book that's not a middle grade. This is one I found called A Victorian Cookbook by John Midgley. And I thought this would be great for Victober. It is full of wonderful Victorian recipes, and of course there's beautiful pictures to go along with those recipes. So I thought I might try a couple of these and try the recipes and then share it with you. So I'll let you know how it goes. I am not the best cook in the world. I mean, my kids like my food, but that's because they're my kids and they don't know any better. But I am not a chef. I, cook like mama cooked. Just a touch of this and a touch of that. I am not the best cook in the world. But I did think that it would be fun to try a couple of these. I want to try to find recipes that are not too complicated, that don't have, require a lot of ingredients, maybe things I could find in my pantry. And cook a couple of things during Victober. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. I'm going to try my best. I'm not making any promises, but I'm going to try to look through this cookbook during Victober and try some. We'll see. And if I do find a good one, I will let you know. Okay, so that's out of the way. Now to middle grade. So the first few are just some paperbacks I found. The first one is called Invincible Louisa, the story of the author of Little Women. And this is written by Cornelia Meggs. And it actually is a Newbery. And I had no idea that there was a Newbery about a Louisa May Alcott. So I was excited to pick this one up. I read the best biography. I think it's the best biography I have ever read. It's called Eden's Outcast. And this is a children's book, of course. It's a Newbery. But the Eden's Outcast is an adult biography about Louisa May Alcott and her father. If you've never read that and you like biographies about authors, pick that up for Nonfiction November because it is fascinating. It is such a page turner. And I could not believe what she went through as a child and how she became a writer because her father was crazy. Anyway, read that book because if you're interested at all in Louisa May Alcott, it's a great one. Anyway, that has just prompted this interest in everything Louisa May Alcott. So when I saw this, I definitely had to have it, not only because it's a Newbery and I want to read all the Newberries, but also it's a biography about Louisa May Alcott. So I thought I might read this one for Nonfiction November. Again, it's a children's book and it's not that long, so this would be a great one for that. I also found, I already had this again, but I know I've read this, but I don't remember much about it. Sounder by William Armstrong. It's another Newbery. So since it was super cheap, I just threw it in my bag. And I thought I could read this one. I do want to find hard copies of all these because I'd like to have a hardcover copy of each one, but still this was super cheap and I need to go ahead and read this one or reread this one again. And then this one is not a Newbery, but it's one I'm interested in. I've never read this before. It's called Redwall and it's the beginning of a fantasy series for middle grade. I've heard really good things about this one, but I've never read it, and so I thought this might be a good one. You know, this is series September, and I have all these series already I'm trying to finish up and continue, but here I am buying another series. Anyway, let me know if you've read this one because I've heard great things about Redwall. So, and I thought if it's a good series, I can continue this one. So let me know. So those are the paperbacks that I've bought. Then I bought some beautiful hardcover copies. Julie of the Wolves by Jean Craighead George. I've read this one before, but it's been a long time and I can't remember. I don't remember anything about this, sadly. It doesn't seem like it's that long though, but I do remember reading this when I taught school. So this is another one and I love the copy. It is just absolutely gorgeous. And then I picked up, now I remember this one well and I really enjoyed this book and I want to reread it. The View from Saturday by E.L. Konigsberg. Again, it's a Newbery. I think she won for another book. What was the other book she wrote? I think she's won for another book. Let's see. Yeah, for the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. That was a good one too if you haven't read that one. But I found this one and I thought I would revisit A View from Saturday. It's just so beautiful. I just can't resist these beautiful copies. This one, I was super excited because I'd never seen this cover before. The cover I had, again, it was a paperback. It didn't look anything like this. This is Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. It is a wonderful book if you've not read that one. And it's by Mildred Taylor, again, a Newbery winner. But look at the cover of that one. I just loved that cover. And it's a wraparound cover. So it just has this beautiful... Oh, and it has the thing in the back. It has the library card in the back. Y'all, look at that. I think what I'm going to do is take this and laminate it. I can use this. My husband actually gave me a set of... It looks like the library cards. They're old vintage library cards as bookmarks. I think I'm going to take these and laminate them and make them bookmarks. That would be cute. Anyway, sorry. This is one that's a really good Newbery. I didn't have a hardcover copy of this, so this will add to my Newbery collection, and I loved the cover. Okay, then all right, so I already have this book in hardcover, but this one was just in such good shape, I couldn't resist, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through my books and unhaul some, and I've been thinking lately of unhaul it and giving them to you, because if you watch these videos, apparently you like these kind of books. So I already have a copy of Roller Skates by Ruth Sawyer, but it's in such great shape. It's an older Newbery winner. This is a lot older Newbery, so this one isn't one that's as easy to find in this edition. I already have it, so what I'm going to do is when I go to unhaul these books and put these on the shelf, I'm going to give the other copy of this away. And since it was super cheap, I thought, why not? That way one of you can have a copy of Roller Skates too, if you like a middle grade and if you like these old vintage books and Newberys. So anyway, I'm going to, that's why I picked this one up, because I thought I could give the other one away on the channel. So stay tuned for that. And any of the others, if I have some of these others, because I'm sure I have duplicate copies of some books, I'm going to start unhauling and giving to you if you're interested. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. Okay, and then I picked up The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. Now, I had a paperback of this, and I know I didn't leave that in my classroom because this is one of my favorite Newberys. But somehow it's gone. I don't know if I loaned it out or something, but anyway, this is a hardcover, so I was glad to pick up a hardback of this, and I do want to reread this because I read this the year it won the Newbery, and it's been that long since I've read it, so I need to revisit this one. Now, this one was not a Newbery winner, but it was the Newbery Honor winner, and I loved it. It's called Paperboy by Vince Valter. I don't own this. I checked it out from the library when I read it, and I must say that the year this won the honor, it should have won the Newbery, because I've read the Newbery from this year and this was better. So I disagree, and I'm putting this on my Newbery shelf because I think this one was a much better book. This is about a little boy who takes on someone else's paper route for the summer, and it's in the 1950s, I think. Let's see. He's an 11-year-old boy living in Memphis in 1959, and it's about that time period, which is super interesting, and this paper route and all the people in the community, in the neighborhood where he delivers the paper. I loved it. I thought it was a great middle grade, and I think adults would enjoy this one too. So if you haven't read Paperboy, I highly recommend this one. But I'm putting it on my Newbery because I think it deserved to win. Okay, the other one that is a Newbery, I've got one more Newbery winner, and that is Walk Two Moons by Sharon Creech. Again, another hardcover. There was just so many beautiful books, and I left a lot of them. But the hardcovers I just couldn't resist because they were so cheap. And again, they are books that I want to revisit. This I remember being a great one, Walk Two Moons by Sharon Creech. And I remember when this came out, I read it, but that has been, again, a long time ago. So I want to revisit this one. And again, let me know if you've read any of these or if you're interested in reading any. Okay, those are the Newberys. Then I found this book, and it was just in such great shape. All of these pretty much are discarded library books, but they have been taken care of. They're all in great shape. This one's called Schooled by Gordon Corman. Now, I remember my boys, when they were in middle school, loved Gordon Corman books. I've never read any. I don't think I've read any Gordon Corman, but I know that I bought them Gordon Corman books, and I remember book fairs, they would always come home with books by this author. So I thought I would pick this one up. I know nothing about it, but I do want to read some Gordon Corman. I know that I think it was Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books just read one of these by him, I think, and she really enjoyed it. So I know that my youngest son still has some of those paperbacks on his shelf. I think he does, so I need to raid his bookshelf and read some of the others. But I just thought this one was in great shape and I'd give it a try. Okay, and then I found this one. This is an older book. It's one of those books from like one of those book clubs. I used to love these. This is called Queenie PV by Robert Birch. I don't know anything about it, but I just loved this. It's one of those weekly reader books, and I remember there were tons of these weekly reader hardcovers, and I just remembered enjoying them. And they always have little illustrations in them too. Like here's one of the illustrations. I always had these like lined, black and white lined drawings in them, and I always enjoyed that. So I thought I would give this a try. Never read this one either. And finally, the last book in this book haul is a poetry collection that I had that my kids loved. I would read aloud. Sometimes I'd start the day by reading aloud a poem, you know, and or from various poetry collections, but they really loved this particular collection. It was super popular, and it's called The New Kid on the Block, Poems by Jack Prelutsky. I had a paperback of this, but it wasn't this large. This says on the side it's a library edition, and I don't know if that's why it's extra large, but I love the size of this. I thought it was a great size. It's a hardcover again, and it has these beautiful line drawings that I think are gorgeous. So I was really excited to get this and revisit these poems because they're just laugh out loud funny. They're great for read alouds, and my kids really enjoyed this in my classroom. So this just took me back to when I taught school, and I was super excited to find it. Again, all these are super cheap books, but they're in great shape. And you know, if I bought one of these, you know, new, I would have paid more than I paid for this whole basket. So I was super excited to pick these up. Have you read any of these? Let me know in the comments, and stay tuned for tomorrow for another video from the library sale book haul. I'll see you soon.